Yeah, there so many guys they talked about that just right after that bowl experience, and I think whether it was the previous bowls that I've been a part of that we've went to, I think there was some in 21 for sure. There was restrictions COVID wise, and then there's just limitations with some of them. I think majority of the time you go to a bowl, there's some form of charity and kind of giving of your time and meeting the community. And so when we went to this last bowl and had the opportunity to do that, it was, so many guys said, "This is what you do at bowls. This is," and they wanted to do it again. And so that to have it happen here is special, and the guys really had fun with that. They were looking forward to it, and a lot of them didn't want it to end. I know the kids were having fun too, so it was good to see. There's a lot of boxes that we checked off. I think injury and not having everyone as healthy as you'd like, I think probably pulled us back a little bit. So there's time in the summer and preseason to get that right. But outside of that, I think we did. I thought there's a lot of freshmen and transfers that showed up here that had proven and have done stuff in their previous stops and kind of believed and thought they could and achieve here. And they've shown that they could. And they had to do it under pressure, and they had to do it with someone in their face competing against them. And so when you've gone through that, you walk around just in a way different way. And there's an energy and a confidence about you that's just transformed. And so we've got that, and that's pretty cool when they're freshmen and they're young people that are doing that. There's guys that really believe, we really believe, that they're going to be able to contribute and have an impact on what's coming up here in the fall. And so that was a big win for us in spring.
Feel like the defense took steps this spring with all the additions and the new coaches.
Yeah, I thought our ability to cover improved, and I thought our attention to detail there and our confidence improved in covering people. I think our pass rush vastly improved. I think Amarion and Fobbs and just the work that we're doing there, K3. I think you got to add the guys that are returning as well, but they can win, and they won pretty consistently in pass rush situations. So we tried to get them as many one-on-ones as they could, and I think really it's a game changer for us. Nothing helps your coverage more than a pass rush, and we were able to get that. And so I'm excited about how that can look coming up in fall. So Keaton has just a nonstop motor, and there's an intensity, and there's just a great focus, and he he inspires some of our younger people, and I think he will piss off our offense, and I think he gets the emotions going, and he'll kind of stir the pot, and then we'll go from there. And I think that's just kind of Keaton being him, and I think to have that type of juice and to do it with the execution that he does it with the communication that he does it with, I think is one of the things that makes him special. I think that, and the boy, every class he's taken, he's getting A's, and he's knocking out everything that's in his way. And so, for your best people to be your best players is a way special thing, and we have that this year with Keaton and Josh and Sawyer, and I think for Keaton the best is yet to come. His improvements can be with his pass rush. I think The amount of times that he does rush in our system is pretty high. We want to get that win percentage up. And so there's technique things and kind of fundamental stuff that we've been working from winter till now. And there's been improvement, and we want to continue to kind of hone at that going into fall camp, because I think that's probably the missing piece for him. Yeah, I thought receiver-wise, for sure, I think our depth was a little down at times with injuries, and especially in the middle of spring. And that's about the time we're getting some of these guys back, like Taz and the rest. And just there is an electric component to them, and just all the space and the grass that's between them. You're on islands, and there's so much quick twitch. They're able to make a 8-yard gain into an 80-yard gain, and that's all of them, And so I think receiver-wise, for sure, I think the amount of option and read routes and things that are more of an instinct and more of a read on the run allows for those guys to play a little bit faster than normally. Hey, this is this many steps, this is with your this foot, this is all those things. And so I think I can see those guys contributing. I can see defensively, I thought Jackson had a really strong spring. There's times where he looked anything but a freshman. He looked like a vet, and that's versus our good people. And then I think K3, he's going to play. He's going to contribute in pass rush situations for sure. I think he can work himself into more first and second down things too.
Tyler and Josh kind of talked about how easy it is to follow Sawyer. I guess, how big of an asset was it to have him back for this spring, and kind of have you decided who you want to go to?
Yeah, I think, again, just the person that he is, and just his, there's a great empathy about him, almost to the degree to where you go to Sawyer and you go, bro, it's okay to think of yourself. It's okay to be a little selfish here. It's okay to want this or demand that, or it's okay to kind of, spread out a little bit and take up a little bit more space. We're not having to say thank you or don't mind me just for existing. And so I think his ability to kind of be really, to walk in a room knowing that, hey, I'm the guy and this is my time, I think that's a game changer. And so, it's crazy what the amount of belief can do, someone believing in somebody else. And I think that was his story last year. I think he's inspiring others now, just the way that he moves and the way that he's, whether it's the younger quarterbacks that are in this room with him, like Ed and Nate, or it's bringing up some of these freshman receivers and spending more time with them. I think he's inspiring those people. And so, yeah, we would not be the team that we are without him.
What do you expect from them? Who do you think is going to fill in that most?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's going to be positive either way. I think it's a win-win for us. Trevion has a mindset for ball. I think football comes easy to him. He's physical. His effort is very, very high, and he brings a dog mentality. And so you would want Trevion with you walking through some dark alley and all this other thing. He's that guy. And at the other spots that he's been that guy, and he's done it under bright lights and all that. Phoenix is very dynamic. The days that we had Phoenix, he was kind of injury deal off and on a little bit at the end of spring. But the days that we had him was by far our most productive player on defense. he is a game changer. And you blitz him, something's going to happen for defense. He's going to make a play. And we haven't really had guys like that. We have that with him. I'm pretty bullish on what he can do, and so I feel good about our linebacker room. I think we're in a good spot. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think Paul's been a great addition there. I think his attention to detail and his teaching methods and just his connection with the guys have been all strong suits for us, and the guys believe in him. And then I think some of the additions that we brought in, I think, have helped too. I think we've brought in some guys that have played some football and have been spots where it's really highly competitive, and they got to show up day in, day out, and all that. And so that's been the case. That's shown up here. And like I say, there's been a fair amount of days where we're going up against a really good throwing outfit, and we're right there with them. And it's one of the very first day of spring ball. There was things where, you know, right after practice, I was excited. I come back, and there was things where last year it would have took, a 9-page paper report with, appendix A, B, and C to kind of get something across or get it taught. And our guys were doing it just kind of naturally. And so that was just way exciting to see when it happens, kind of that there's a breakthrough that can occur when the learning just kind of sticks. And we're not there by any means, but we're a lot further along than we ever were last year. So I'm excited for that.
Spring ball's over, I guess, what was just kind of your message to these guys? Like, what kind of growth are you looking to see maybe over the summer going into
We got a knockout class. We've got some, with guys transferring, there's always, hey, these credits and those credits and that. And so we've got to be able to finish really strong. I'm proud of the guys' effort and what they put into it to this point. We got a couple days left, and so we have to be totally focused on that. We had our parents of our players were down for all of this, and spoke to them yesterday about just the importance of finishing strong. And so I feel good about it with all the moms in our corner, pushing them. And then, the second thing I'd say that's important is that we have to be a more disciplined team on the field. And I go back to the bowl game and just the big plays that we got on both sides of the ball and how they're negated with this or that, whether it's a penalty or it's Baylor beating Baylor. And so just the firepower that's on both sides of the ball now on this team presently, I feel really strong about. Right? We have to be able to go into those real competitive spaces, and the juices get all turned up, and we're all rolling and all this other thing, and we have to get right to the edge but not go over it, where we self-combust, And so I think that's an area for our improvement, and we'll find ways in the summer to get us in those spots where we can do the next right thing. Yeah, it's been, this particular transfer window has been primarily defense for us. And it hasn't been intentional. We haven't come out trying to play defense. We very much wanted to be offensively minded in our approach, but it was one thing after the other. And so now that we're on the other side of that, it gives us the ability to play a little bit more offense. You'd rather play offense than defense. I think it speaks to Sawyer. I think it speaks to KT. I think it speaks to Josh Cameron. I think it speaks to Omar. I think it speaks to Jackie Marshall. I think the guys know we got a chance to do something with all of that this year, and they want to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. He's best when he's healthy, and so we got to get him healthy, and he's working really hard to get back, and it's just been these last couple months for him. It's been one thing after the next, and so he's just about ready to kind of go full and be with us, and he missed the majority of spring, and so he started it and then was injured again. And so I think for him to be healthy, he's a difference maker in his coverage skills and his ability to, when he's in the nickel spot, to take away a slot receiver, and then he has the ability to blitz and win one-on-one. There's a toughness about him and a hard-nosedness about him and all that, and he's put his face right into other people's and set edges and all those things. He just hasn't. He's been limited. Some of it last year was, hey, if we rush him, then who's going to cover the guy that he's usually covering? I feel better about that now, where we're at, and then I think just the overall expansion of the defense, his ability to kind of be a leader in communication, I think also stands out. And so he's a vital part. So to get him back where he's healthy and ready to go improves us. Mm-hmm.
Is this I know this seems like a trend anyway, but do you like ending it like this rather than a spring game?
Yeah, I think, you don't want to get anybody hurt. You don't want to get someone that could possibly transfer and get them on TV and all this other thing. It's an open deal, so, anyone could come and see this and see that. And so there's just a bunch of things that are nowadays just make it difficult. I think we had an alumni event last night, and so we had about 90 players, and we had some from just the different eras, and it's been difficult to get everybody from all the eras back together, And so this was the first time, really, that we had kind of a sprinkling of guys from each era, and that fired me up just to visit with them and to see them and to get them interacting. And we had a couple guys that were, I guess, from my era. I don't know. They just got done playing, and this was their first really kind of alumni thing, hanging out. And I go, man, hey, you're on an even bigger team now, bro. Right? This is pretty cool, right? And so just the contacts and everything else. And so I think there's minuses with this approach. One of them is not having all those guys come back for this. And I think I know the fans want them to see the team and everything else. And so, yeah, trying to find ways maybe we're in the previous scrimmages, right? Trying to get those more opened up where we can invite and have alumni back and have fans to see might be the thing to do prior to the spring game or the Baylor Blitz. Yeah. We've got to get a receiver. We've got to get some depth at O-line. We've got to get a corner. I think we probably need to get a nose guard. Those would be the big areas right there. And then I think from that, kind of seeing, kind of reassessing. Anything after that would be kind of more depth. And, I think rules are changing. There's going to be kind of a roster limit thing, and now that's kind of up in the air. And so depending on how all that goes, kind of the makeup of the team going into fall is kind of wait and see. All right, thank you, guys.
How was the Fitz Jones and was fun? I mean, I did a similar deal with the bowl.
Uh-huh.
How fun was that?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. I think you just kind of look back on whenever you were a kid, getting to do stuff like that, see people who you look up to. So just really cool to impact the community in that way. It was really cool. There's a lot. I'd say it doesn't really it's not really pressure, but more of expectations. You know, like the standard is higher, and I think we've got a lot of pieces coming back, and this spring has been just building on it. And it's been really cool to see some guys who were big pieces last year who are going to be even bigger pieces next year, and new guys coming in that are going to be successful in the fall too. And it's just been really cool. Yeah, I think we've done a lot better job of communicating, getting everybody on the same page. I feel like everybody's been in their books for the most part. A lot of people know what's going on. And so, I mean, for some of these new guys, like it's a lot, you know, it's not high school football anymore, you know, but it's been really good. I feel like we've done a lot better job of just being on the same page, you know, playing together, playing as a unit, not just for individual stats, if that makes sense.
How big kind of is, I guess, this spring camp just for you guys with so many new players coming in from, wherever? Just how big was this for you guys to get to know each other and just kind of have fun?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So much of football is just being a team, you know, and I think that goes with playing football, but that also goes just being brothers, you know, just doing life together. So just getting to know the guys on more of a personal level, I think just builds to the team chemistry and is going to help us win games in the fall. They had a lot. They're both very, very, very talented football players, and they've came in with a mindset that they were gonna win. They were gonna win their one-on-ones. They were gonna go play, you know, and they've fit right in, you know. We're blessed to have them, and glad to have them in the room. I know they're gonna help us win games in the fall. So, yeah, yeah. I think part of my job is just corralling the position group, you know, just getting us all headed the same direction. You know, I think you can get caught up in the individual accolades or the praise for yourself, but like at the end of the day, like our position group needs to be the best that it can be, and I think part of my role is to make sure that we get there, you know, and to keep everybody on track. So.
You kind of mentioned that optimism, I guess, that y'all had coming into spring after last year. Do you feel like you were able to maybe carry that momentum from last season into spring?
For sure, for sure. I mean, like I said, we had a lot of pieces coming back. You know, just all of us getting out there playing football again it's great. And the standard is higher. You know, that's kind of how it works, and we're all really looking forward to it. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think we get a lot of our scrimmage work, you know, in the past few weeks. Just trying to keep people healthy, you know, towards the end of spring ball, I think is really important, especially with the season kind of turning ahead to be right around the corner. Yeah, I thought it was really good. And like I said before, playing the little thing for the kids, I thought was really cool. You know, I hope they enjoyed it as much as we did. Yeah, I think probably for me, one of my goals going into the spring was just to get to know the new guys, you know, make the freshmen feel at home, you know, make the transfers feel like, you know, they belong here and we're excited to have them. And I guess if you're talking football-wise, I feel like I've improved a lot just technique-wise. I put on a lot of weight last year, so that helped a lot. And so kind of getting into more of the details of just footwork, hands, things like that. I feel like I've gotten better at this spring. So, yeah. Yeah, he's been awesome. He brings such an energy to the room and just so much expertise. He's coached a lot of football. He's played a lot of football, you know. And he's I feel like he does such a good job of just keeping us all together as one. You know, it's not one individual or a few guys. Like, he coaches all of us the same. And so it's been really good to have him. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, it gives the defense confidence, you know, that our offense is going to get in the game in the fall, and they're going to be ready, you know. Sawyer's such a good leader, and there's not enough kind words that I could say about Sawyer. He does everything right, you know. He's so easy to follow. So I think having him coming back, being as successful as he was, he's going to fulfill all those expectations, and I truly believe that. Yeah. I think it can be hard to tell at first, but I feel like we've gotten some really good pieces that have come in, and then also just the pieces coming back I've seen a lot of improvement, in the spring. So yeah, I'd say so. Oh, for sure, a lot of improvement. Coach Powledge, Coach Gonzalez. Coach Gonzalez was a great addition to the staff. He's been doing a great job, and some of the transfers that we brought in are going to be really good. Kind of hard to see kind of what the fall is really going to look like, but seeing a lot of improvement and just guys really wanting to take that extra step to improve. And I think that's part of the battle that we fight every day. It's consistency. It's not showing up one day and then just lollygagging through the next. You got to be consistent. So I think seeing that out of really the whole team, but the back end for sure. Perfect. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was super fun. It kind of reminded me of the thing we did at the bowl game. It's kind of that similar kind of format. So just kind of being able to give back to the community, it's always a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? So I was actually able to run around with the little camera, the little tripod. So it was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah, yeah, he did like a little flip. It was crazy though. It was awesome. It was awesome. Had me crying. Had me crying. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, the spring was awesome. Just really seeing the growth from really kind of like the young guys, specifically guys like Taz, guys like Ashton and Ja'Cory, just kind of seeing them just do this all spring, and then seeing guys like myself, and then Cole and Ashton, everybody just kind of had this upward trajectory as we kind of went along. So kind of seeing that as we finished, it was honestly a really great spring, and I'm just really excited, kind of moving into the summer and then moving into the fall, of course. So. It's just upward trajectory all around. Yeah, no, for sure. I think I've realized that losing guys like Hal, Monterey, Keytron in our room, I know I had to kind of take that next step, that next role to, like I said, build up the younger guys because there's a whole lot of new faces in the room. So just kind of being looked at as that dude who's kind of, I am a seasoned vet, so being looked at as that and just kind of taking that role on, just helping younger guys. Examples like helping Ja'Cory on kind of his steps on a kind of goal ball. So things like that, and just kind of taking that and just moving forward with that for sure. Oh yeah, no, the guys have been awesome. Someone like Cole, real speedy dude. Dude can get out. Same with Kobe. Both of them are kind of step for step in terms of speed. And then specifically on the defensive side, guys like Devin Turner, he's been a huge addition in terms of like our safety room. We've really just been battling all spring. It's been great, friendly competition, but just kind of seeing those additions, it's been a real good help. Yeah, no, for sure. I think kind of those guys kind of already being here, someone like myself too, just already knowing the offense, already knowing like what's to come, and just kind of trying to build off of that compared to last year. I think that's really been a huge help, and just kind of getting started with like more like a solid foundation, I guess you could say, and just kind of using that to propel us. Yeah, no, for sure. I would say it kind of started when, really when he first got here. I was kind of throwing, back when Blake was here too, I was throwing with him and Sawyer at times because, they're in the battle. And then just as we kind of continued to progress and then he got his moment to shine, the connection was really already there. And so I remember going into the Air Force game when he was going to take over, he was like, dude, I'm going to let it fly, man. So just be ready. So I just kind of had that mindset in the back of my head and then just kind of went off from there for sure. Yeah, no, I would just say not being complacent, not being satisfied, always just being hungry. Shoot, really just looking back at my journey from walk on to where I'm at now, just treating myself like I'm still in that walk on position and just being like, man, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. So just not letting complacency, things like that creep in for sure. Oh yeah, no, that was awesome too. A guy like him, he's been with Spav already, so he already knows the ins and outs of the offense. So he's another kind of leader in our room and just someone we can just always rely on. So he's honestly a freak athlete. So the things that he can do, it's pretty crazy, and his hands are huge, super huge. So he's just another reliable guy that we can always count on for sure. So having him, it's awesome.
Goals going into spring? Do you feel like now that you're at the end of it, y'all kind of are where you wanted to be, I guess, going into spring?
Yeah, no, for sure. Kind of at the beginning of spring, we said, "Hey, whatever happens, just always look forward and always just really get better 1% every day." And so I think that's what we really did. Kind of like what I was saying earlier. It was just upward trajectory. Guys making less and less mistakes, not making the same mistakes, and just kind of just building off of that and just getting better every day. So I think we're in a really good spot for sure.